Yes, well, that's what I wanted to just take a few steps back because we did dive in and talk about this, but it might be worth reflecting for our listener on the current state of health of our children. I mean, whenever we talk about this increase in preventable degenerative diseases, it's often said, "Oh, well, we're getting older," but our kids are not getting older, and so they are the canaries in the coal mine. What's it like down in the coal mine? What are these canaries telling us?
Yeah, well, they're telling us we better change our ways because, we've already seen a peak and decline in life expectancy, at least in the United States. And we've seen a significant increase in chronic illness in kids. The last numbers we have are from 2008. That's the last time our government looked at our chronic illness numbers in kids.
Wow,
So
really? That's scary.
at that time, it was over 50%. I have no idea what it is now. It's the same with the autism rates. Our last autism rate numbers from the United States are 1 in 36, and those are kids born in 2012. Now, they reported them in 2020 because it's 8-year-olds. So they're supposed to report every 2 years. We haven't seen a report in a while, right? So, again, they play these games, so we don't even know how bad the numbers are. But, I always say when I went to school, we had maybe one overweight kid in class. That was it. Now almost every kid is overweight, right? That's the number one chronic health issue. Things like type 1 diabetes happened, but things like juvenile rheumatoid arthritis were rare. Now, I've got friends, their kids have JRE. It's like, when did that start happening? Right. And then you've got these kids that are 9 years old and they have type 2 diabetes, the adult diabetes, the obesity diabetes.
It used to be called late onset, but not anymore.
No.
Late onset diabetes, it used to be called.
Right. And then you've got, all the hormone effects of the toxins in the environment. You have girls going through puberty when they're 8 years old. They start their period at 7 or 8 years old. And then the other side of that equation is you have women, optimum menopause is in your mid to late 50s. People forgot that because everybody's going through menopause in their 40s. That's environmental, right? It didn't used to be like that. Right. And so, you have chronic disease rates that were maybe in the 6, 8, 10% range in the 60s that are now over 50%. And again, I don't know how high because they stopped measuring it for us. Wow. Those numbers are, 15 years old in the US. So I don't know what they are now, but still it's a crisis. And I always like to say, it's a job security for me because I'll never run out of patients to take care of, because they're not doing anything about chronic illness. And until you look at the underlying issue, right? I have high blood pressure. Why do you have high blood pressure? Nobody ever looks, right? And I can't tell you, there's a type of diabetes that happens in adults that's actually type 1 diabetes, but it happens in adults. And in kids, type 1 diabetes, they get a viral illness within 2 weeks, they're in ketoacidosis in an emergency room, right? Very rapid. With adults, it's a slow slide over the course of years. And so these people come in and it's like they're fit, they're thin, and they're diabetic. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. And then you work them up and you say, oh, we call it latent autoimmune diabetes of adults. Type 1.5, type 3, whatever you want to call it, but it's an autoimmune diabetes like type 1. It just is slow onset. And it's like, well, how did you know that? It's like, it's not why do I know that? It's why doesn't your doctor know that? They put you on type 2 diabetes medications. I'm not going to fault them for doing that. But when you didn't respond and get better, why didn't they look deeper, right? And we all learn about this. It's just nobody pays attention, because it's not part of the decision tree. It's like, oh, that's a branch way over here that we forgot about. So, but again, it's an issue of cleaning that environment as much as you possibly can, minimizing the electronics. Your children will be much more pleasant, by the way, if you don't get those damn electronics, because it just buzzes their brain.
You talk about heroin.
Oh, yeah.
Electronic devices are a dopamine hit that is, you just would not leave. You wouldn't leave your kid with a syringe of heroin and just say, just inject at will. You wouldn't do that.